There's another one you don't want to hear. Frankly, if you want.
1, 2, 3, set, go.
Right now on the Power Chord Hour, I'm very stoked to be talking to Justin Vaughn of Cleveland band Low Morale. They recently released a new album called Making You Better Feeling. Really enjoying that lately. So we're going to get into that and a tons more. I know that if you're listening to this on the radio show, I've played a few songs off that. So hopefully you've heard it and enjoy it. If not, we'll definitely play something later. We're going to get into the music and all of that good stuff. Justin, man, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited. You know, I knew you guys were putting something out for a while. I wanted to keep checking it out. I kept forgetting to check it out, and then I don't know, a few weeks ago, finally heard it and just really liking it. I feel like just right away you hit a bunch of checkpoints of things I like. Like if we're going down like a list of shit I like, you hit it in the band. It is quality pop punk. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. So I mean, like just starting out. I mean, is this the very first release from the band? I know you guys have only been around for a little while.
Yeah. So me and Steve Sherman, the guitarist who I co-wrote, the whole album with, we were in a band called Blacklister that was around for a few years before that, and we kind of decided to do kind of like version like 2.0, and we just kind of changed the band name and got a new rhythm section and just kind of reinvented ourselves in a way. We just felt like it was time to kind of start over fresh. And the actual recording process was pretty crazy. It took a lot longer. It started right before the pandemic started, so it was a pretty crazy time trying to get this album finished.
How long have you guys been playing together? You said you were in a Blacklister before. How long have you guys been playing together now?
Well, me and Steve, we've probably been actually writing together for about 8 years now. It's pretty
nice.
crazy. Yeah, time flies. It's pretty nuts. Like, yeah, I just realized holy shit, we've been, together for a while now. So the problem with our last band was we had so many new members. We could not keep drummers and bassists, so we just spent so long training new members, and we just kind of got stuck in the mud. So we got to do some cool things, but we would have liked to do a lot more and release more albums. So we kind of had this approach with this new project, Low Morale, that originally was just going to be me and Steve writing all the songs, and we were like, oh, let's just, to make it easier, we'll find a bassist and then a drummer to fill in for live shows, just streamline the process. But we have this new drummer, Kyle, who's great. And we've been working with him for 6 or 7 months now. And it's awesome. Yeah, we're really stoked. We have a couple of bassists that have been helping out. This dude, Mikey's been playing with us, and he's great. We actually have not even played live yet, so we're super stoked to do that.
That's pretty rad. It has to be a little easier because you were just talking about the lineups and stuff in your last band. Just a few hours ago I was interviewing a band, and they're a duo, and that was such a big thing we were talking about is it's so much easier to get ideas, I think, through just two people, because a whole band, that's a big dynamic. You're going through multiple people, so I'm sure doing this had to be a little easier with just two of you.
It's like being married to 4 other people and doing business together.
Jesus,
it's pretty hard. So that's why we decided, just to make things easier, because I feel even though in our last band we got to play with a lot of our favorite bands and do some cool stuff, but it's let's make this process a lot smoother by just having it just the two of us. And then because the two of us work like a well-oiled machine, kind of. The oil is probably lube, but so to make it easier, just have it just be Justin and Steve, and then just have other people fill in. But this dude Kyle who's been drumming for us is like great, so he's been helping out a lot. We did have a show booked earlier, like what was it? Actually, it just happened last night because it was rebooked. But yeah, we ended up dropping off of that. But we do have a show coming up March 13th at this awesome spot called Now That's Class in Cleveland.
Oh, great
with
venue.
our friends. Yeah, there's this band from Denver called Spells, who we played with them a couple years ago. They were on tour with Off With Their Heads.
Nice.
And but yeah, they're super nice dudes. The singer Ben Roy is actually a comedian, and he's on this show on True TV called Those Who Can't. And yeah, so they hit us up and they're like, "Hey, let's play the show." So we're hoping it'll happen. We'll
that
see what
sounds
happens.
like a nice first show.
Yeah. It's like they're super cool. They're a great band. So yeah, we'll see if it actually goes down. But who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's
So-
very true. Have you guys rehearsed much yet? Like, do you feel like you're ready for your first show?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to be completely honest, these songs we wrote like probably almost 2 years ago now.
Oh, that's good
And-
point. Good point.
Yeah, and like at least me and Steve. So I'm honestly like kind of almost getting sick of them because I mean I love the songs to death. I really do, but it's just I've been listening to them for 2 years now, so it's like I'm almost ready to start working on new stuff, which we have. But yeah, so it's pretty much our new bassist Mikey. He like pretty much showed up and like knew most of the stuff. So yeah, we only had like a couple practices with him before the holidays. So actually tomorrow will be maybe like our third practice with him. So but we're pretty confident. And yeah, I think it'll be a good time. I think we're ready to play finally. I've been waiting like 2 years to play.
I think and you kind of brought up something that I've been thinking about lately, talking to bands, and just the whole like the last 2 years, like really messing with album cycles and like how long ago, like even though this is like fresh, I've only been listening to it a few weeks. And when did it come out? November?
I think it was it October or November? I think it was October.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it took so long. I mean, I have I have a pretty crazy story about the actual process. We started recording at this dude's house who had like a studio, and he had a band, and we actually we programmed the drums. They're real drum samples, but we just like programmed them because it was just me and Steve, and they sounded great. As a matter of fact, we were on this Hard Times podcast, like played us, and they kind of critique the bands and the recordings, and I thought they were gonna like butcher us, but they're like, "Oh, the drums sound so good." And, like,
oh, nice.
I was like laughing because I'm like, "Those are programmed drums," but I mean, that's why they sound good. But yeah. So the process started like right before the pandemic. Steve played guitar, bass, and programmed the drums and everything. And before I could do the vocals, the shutdown happened. So then we went like 3 months without recording. I finally started recording with the dude who's like a super nice dude. He's super talented, but stuff started getting like weirder and weirder while we were recording with him. Like all of a sudden he had like a Trump flag up. This is like a young dude. And, it was weird because, I mean, this dude, like he's a super cool dude. He's into like Fat Records and Anti-Flag, and
all the good stuff.
We could talk for hours about punk rock, but it's like all of a sudden, like I saw a Trump thing and I thought it was like a joke, and then I realized like, wait, something's like
it wasn't a joke at all.
Yeah, I'm like, this isn't a joke. I thought it was like sarcastic, but I'm like, no. Every time I come over, there's more Trump stuff. And then he was like, I don't know, he was kind of like going through like a Tom DeLonge phase or whatever. He was like super into like aliens, and was talking about how he thinks there's aliens in his backyard. And I just like watched this kind of the deterioration of this dude who's like a really good dude, and so, I'm going over and I'm recording and it's sounding really good. Like he's a great, dude. And so I know the first time I really noticed something was weird was when I went to go tag his Instagram, because he had like a really nice Instagram. He would, show like he'd go through how he mixes stuff, and it was really well kept up. I went to go tag him and the Instagram was gone.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
I'm like, okay. So next time I went to go record, and I was like, hey, dude, I went to go tag your studio. he's like, oh, I took it down. I'm taking it on all my social media. And ends up it's because he posted footage of what he thought was a UFO on like TikTok, and he thought the FBI was trying to track him or something. So he took all his social media down. So I'm like, and I'm like, oh my God. And like this album that we're putting so much work into is in this guy's hands. And like I said, he's super talented. He's got great taste in music. You know, he's a super nice dude, but he just like got caught up in this conspiracy stuff or something. And I'm like, is this real? And then, so fast forward to, I only need like one more vocal session. Like we put hours and hours into this, and he keeps on saying, oh, maybe next week I can. Okay, maybe next weekend. So finally he's like, I don't think I could work anymore on your album. I'm gonna I don't know, just concentrate on Jesus and Trump and all, like, whatever. He thought like the aliens were gonna like he said something about how like the aliens were supposed to like anoint Trump the king of the world or some weird shit.
Jesus
so anyway,
Christ.
yeah. So after months and months, I couldn't I literally needed like an hour more just to fix a couple of things, and he wouldn't even like let me like finish it. Not like I wanted to be trapped in his house and be like I'm like, actually, I was telling my girlfriend about it. She's like, I don't know if you should go over there. Like, you know, like, what if he sacrifices you to like the lizard people or something? So
She has a point.
yeah. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. So anyway, I'm like, shit. Okay. So he had sent the audio to the instrumental to us. So, and I honestly, like my brother Bob, who you know from from the Promise Hero and his solo stuff, he had helped me demo, and I actually honestly kind of liked the demo vocals anyway better. So Bobby saved the day, and he pretty much put my demo vocals over the instrumental that I recorded with the Lizard King, and or whatever. And I don't want to talk bad about him. Like, he really is like a super cool dude, but just went a little off the rails. But so Bobby saved the day, and it sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it really does. You really can't tell the vocals are like demo, like they don't sound that way at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're all the same, like obviously like time signature and everything. So we're able, you know, thanks to it being 2020, what year is it? 2022.
2022.
At the time,
it all blurs together.
Yeah, the last 3 years are pretty much one giant year. So yeah. So anyway, Bobby saved the day. He put it all together. And then after we released it, Steve was like, "Oh, I really like." This is after we already like put it on like Spotify. He's like, "Oh, I just realized there must be a track muted because none, or actually it wasn't before that." He's like, I just realized like none of my guitar slides are on the tracks. So I'm like, oh my God. So like Bobby just added a couple of guitar slides.
Nice.
It was this album was honestly a shit show. I'm not going to lie, but you know, it came, I mean, but then again, I guess it kind of, you know,
the hard work paid off.
Yeah. I mean, it represents the last few years. You know what I mean? We got
through
it.
That is a great, you know what? Like, it is very much a time capsule of this time.
This album, you know, is dedicated to all the people who got through the shit, you know, and persevered. That's what this album represents. So that's the positive note I'm going to add to it. So yeah, so that's why, you know, now you can kind of see while I want everyone to go out I do want everyone to go out and rock out to it and enjoy it. You know, I'm just, because, you know, I went through all this stuff personally, I'm ready to kind of move on, and we do have a few new songs I'm super stoked about, but yeah, like I said, like like the Hard Times, they have this podcast called Fanboys, and they'll play music. Sometimes, like if they think it sucks, they'll rip on it, but if they like it, they'll say they like it. So they tweeted us and said, hey, we're going to be playing your music. And I was like, oh my God. I was like ready for them to just shit on us, especially like they're going to be playing this, you know, this album, which, you know, we literally pieced together like Frankenstein. and I was like so nervous. And then the first band they played was like this techno band, and they were ripping on it. I'm like, oh my God. Then they reviewed, then they played us, and they had nothing bad to say. They like loved it. They were like,
rad.
Yeah, like they were like, you know, they were like, thanks for, they're like, this is classic pop punk, but not in a bad way. And they're like, oh, the drums sound great, which was hilarious. And they loved they're like, your bass player is amazing, which is funny because it was just Steve. who is a great bass player, you know. So I guess we managed to fool him. But yeah, there were like things for making Cleveland actually desirable, which I thought was funny. But yeah, and they started out with, Low Morale, no wonder they're named that, they're from Cleveland.
Oh,
But but yeah, and actually right before I got on this podcast, Kyle Kinane, you know, the comedian,
yeah.
he had tweeted something about how he's like, I'm 45 years old or whatever, and I'll never stop listening to pop punk. So for some reason, I just like tweeted him something about Low Morale or whatever, and then he like just before I got on this podcast, he tweeted back and said like, hell yeah, this is awesome or something.
Oh,
so
nice.
Somehow I'm like, we're fooling all these people to think that we don't suck.
Those are some good people to have on your side too. Those are
I'll take it, especially hard times. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they will not hold back if they don't like you. So
that's pretty sick. Including that's paying off. You deserve it after all you've went through for this release. I feel like now it's paying off. Now it's kind of like, okay, now the good. It was like front loaded with bad shit. Now the second half, it's all good stuff now.
Exactly,
it's all good stuff.
And it's extra funny because the whole point of Low Morale kind of was supposed to be like, you know, like I said, like version 2.0, and just make try to figure out a way to make everything streamlined and easier. And then that was the first thing that hit us was the pandemic and this shit show of a, you know, process recording this album. But
yeah, not easier at all.
Yeah, so I'm like, I guess this band's not going to be that much easier, but no, but I mean, I love the songs. I'm super stoked on it. These next couple songs are some of my favorite songs that we've ever written. So yeah, I'm stoked to move forward and play some shows and have some fun.
Do you think you will be back? Do you think then the band will probably be back in the studio before the end of the year? Is that safe to say?
I mean, I would love to. I think the plan that, you know, we kind of talked about is maybe just doing like a few songs, you know what I mean? Just like a little
couple singles.
I don't even know if you would, I mean, I don't even know if you would call like a EP, but yeah, maybe just put like a little, like, maybe just like a very short EP of just like 3 or 4 songs.
That's EP. I would say that's
go into
EP
a studio. Yeah. Just go into a studio, you know, and not someone's room with a Trump flag outside their house. But but go into like a real studio and lay some stuff down, because, you know what I mean, I'd rather just do something short and sweet and get it out there than, you know, work on a whole full length again at this time. So like I said, I'm super stoked to just, you know, work on some new stuff and move forward.
Nice. You know, with shout out to your brother Bobby, who's been on the show a few times. I was gonna ask that, like, have you guys ever worked together, like you know, either be in a band or just write music together? Have you guys ever done that?
Oh yeah, we Bobby might have mentioned this on your podcast, but, you know, back I started being in bands almost 20 years ago, and like I was like maybe in high school, and not to date myself, but and Bobby was like maybe middle school or something. He was pretty young, and he always wanted to like be in my bands, and I would be like, oh, you're too young, you know. And then the thing about Bobby is he'll, like, you know, I skateboarded, and, you know, I kind of sucked, and he'd pick it up and land a kickflip and be like, oh, this is pretty cool. You know. And then like I took guitar lessons, and I was kind of struggling. He picked it up and started like soloing, and the guitar was smoking. And I'm like, he's like, oh, this is pretty easy. But so yeah, he's like a genius. He's great. But so we ended up I don't know if I want to go into how we moved to Minneapolis and then back or whatever, but I was living in Minneapolis at the time, and Bobby had moved back, so we had lived there for a while. And he had started a band, and then I moved back here, and then we started jamming, and then his band kind of transitioned into a band we were in together called the Honor Roll, which was awesome. We got to play with a bunch of like drive-through bands and hopeless bands and stuff, and it was pretty sweet. The thing with Bobby is like we like harmonize like perfectly, because we have very similar voices, so people gave us a lot of the like the Good Charlotte vibes and stuff. This is back in the early 2000s. This is like back in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, that would definitely be a reference then at that time. Yeah,
and we were playing with a bunch of like drive-through bands and stuff, and that whole scene. And Yeah, like, and we actually had a or not an interview, but we met up with Richard Raines from Drive Thru in his hotel room when he was in Cleveland,
Nice.
and we were actually they came to see us. We were actually opening up for the Misfits, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was like this Cleveland music festival thing, and it was kind of like when Bobby's old band was transitioning into the new band, so we kind of like, I would sing a few songs and then, you know, the newer stuff and whatever. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I have so many stories. This should be like a 2-parter podcast, I think. But
I love hearing them. I'm totally up for hearing all of them.
I mean,
man.
I can go on for days with crazy shit. But yeah, so Marky Ramone was like playing drums for them. I didn't even know.
Damn.
I just walked. Yeah, we got there early, and it was an empty like theater, and I see on the stage, like, the drum head says Marky Ramone, and he's sitting there in the front row in the empty theater, because this is, you know, but way before, you know, doors open. So this is like early 2000s, 2004 maybe, 2005, and I was like super, just like, I didn't give a fuck back then. I literally ran down and sat next to him, and I was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm in the honor roll," or whatever I said, and yeah, and he was like super nice. And then like I watched the Misfits sound check in like an empty theater, like it was nuts.
Damn.
So anyway, so then I came up and I did a few songs. It's like I said, it was kind of transitioning into the other band, and you know, half the crowd were like pop punk kids, half the crowd were like gutter punk kids, and someone like threw like a bottle and it almost like hit Bobby's head. It was like an inch away, and I jumped into the crowd and I was like, "Fuck you, fuck you!" Like it was like a total like rock and roll like crazy moment. And so yeah, and like it was just nuts. So, and we had heard that Richard Raines was going to be in town because he was like judging some Battle of the Bands, because it was this whole like Cleveland music festival thing. So then this dude comes up to us and he's like, "Hey, I'm Nate Israel. I do A&R for Drive Thru Records. I really think, you know, you should meet up with Richard tomorrow in his hotel room." And we're like, okay. I mean, this is the guy who signed Newfound Glory, Census Fail, Starting Line.
Yeah,
you know, like
all the classics.
Yeah, like all those bands. Exactly. So, you know, and I was like super stoked. So me, Bobby, and Dan Weiss, who was the guitarist in both Honor Roll and in The Promise Hero and in his other band. So the next morning we met up with him. And I don't know if you've heard any of the rumors about Richard Raines.
I already know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
With walking feet.
Yeah.
Okay. I know where you're going with this. Yes. I thought I had a feeling when you mentioned Richard Raines, this is where it's going, but I wasn't going to say anything. But yes, I see where this story's going.
I'm spilling all the tea here, man. If you want any dirt, listen to the Power Chord Hour. And I'm spilling all the tea. No, I'm just playing. So yeah, so if anyone knows the rumors, yeah. Well, what's funny is, so okay, let's rewind. So we had moved to Minneapolis in like the mid '90s because our stepdad had gotten a job out there. So anyway, so that's where I started. Like, I had a band called From the Start out there. Very kind of like movie life vibes.
I'm into that.
So yeah, so we would play with, you know, when sometimes like there's this band called Knockout from Chicago.
Oh, I love Knockout. Oh my God, such a great band.
Yeah, they were great. They were on Fearless Records.
They should have been as big as Fall Out Boy, in my opinion.
They should have been. Well, TJ Minich, I believe his name is.
Oh, it's
Spitalfield. He was originally in the band, and oh my God,
their drummer
totally
ended up being in the
name.
Plain White Tees. I can't think of his name, but he ended up being in Plain White Tees.
I always know his name. I knew I shouldn't have smoked weed before this because I cannot remember his name.
I think it's Omar something. I can't think of the rest of it. I think
I think it's I thought it started with a D, like Darnell or something, maybe. Anyway, so yeah, their drummer ended up joining the Plain White Tees. So yeah, it's a sick band. And so the first time we play with them, I know this is spidering off into a bunch of other stories,
I love this stuff, so you're good. I love these things. I'm sure people listening are into this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so anyway, Knock on Fearless Records. The first I had known them because the very first Punk Goes Pop had just come out, and they did the Destiny's Child Survivor cover on the first Punk Goes Pop. So I remember being super stoked, and so we play with them in the basement of a taco place called Taco Toro.
Nice.
And across from a trailer park, and and so where was I? Yeah, so they crashed at my house, and it was crazy. we kept on waking up the drummer and like spraying like shaving cream on his face, and they were videotaping it, and they were gonna make like a DVD, and it was so much fun. But anyway, I'm getting off subject here. So they had told us about Drive-Thru Records, how they had a meeting with him, and how he's kind of creepy, and what he'll do is he'll like have meetings with a bunch of like young bands and then make them like walk on his back. Like and they said it was like pretty creepy and weird. So yeah, and then I played with this band. I don't know if it was like Houston Calls or like one of those other bands I had played with, and then they had told me the same story.
So you're hearing this from a few people at this point.
Yeah, so because our merch booths are right next to each other, and we were talking or whatever, and yeah, they told us the same story about it. And I think what happened was I said, "Oh, they're like, what label you're on?" I'm like, "Oh, we're not signed." And they were like, I'm like, "We just had a meeting with Drive-Thru though." And he goes, "Oh, did he make you walk on his back?" And what's funny is I didn't do it. Bobby and Dan did it. I sat on the bed and I was like,
Oh my god.
Yeah, he listened to our demo. While laying on the floor, and Bobby and Dan walked on his back, and he was talking shit about all these other bands. He's like, "Do you know how many demos Yellow Card sent me?" He's like, all because they have a violinist doesn't make them original. What if they had an accordion player? I had to sign them. Like, he was talking shit because Yellow Card was huge. He was, yeah.
Early 2000s, early to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So he was probably mad that that he didn't sign them. So he was like, butthurt, and yeah. So he's like, "Oh, Yellow Card sucks. They sent me so many demos and I denied them." Then he was talking shit about Census Fail. He's like, "I'm gonna kick Census Fail off of Drive-Thru." He's like, "They don't listen to me." And so then I ended up reading an AP after that meeting. There's an interview with Buddy. And he was like, "Yeah, he kept on telling us not to scream anymore." So we said, "We're going to do whatever we want." So they left and went on Vagrant. And then the funny thing is he said, there's one song where I had like a scream, and he goes, "You should cut that scream out." So I knew that it was true that he said it to them because he said it to us too.
Not a fan of the screaming.
I don't know why he signed Finch then, but
yeah, I know there's a few bands on Drive-Thru that definitely had some unclean vocals in there.
Yeah. So it's funny that he told us the same thing as them. But yeah, so that's my Drive-Thru story.
I really thought it was going there, and I was right.
Yeah, well, and I remember people were like, "Oh, he brings his own like silk sheets to like hotel rooms and stuff," which like back then sounded creepy, but now after knowing how gross hotel rooms are, like I don't think that's weird. Like
that part's not so weird. I hate sheets in hotels as well, though the silk thing.
But for the record, I just want to say that, Richard, if you're listening and you have any hookups with other labels, like I think you're not creepy at all, and I think you're awesome.
Hell yes.
And thank you for signing all my favorite bands.
Oh, one of the greatest labels of all time. I will say.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dude. Yeah, like Starting Line, Census Fail, Newfound Glory, like
I was talking to a buddy,
all
like
those bands.
You look like 20 years ago this year, like 2002. Like, my God, go just go look at like the albums they released 20 years ago this year. It's insane.
Yeah.
They're all classics.
And also I guess the last part was he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to start the sister label, the Drive-Thru, called Rushmore Records." And he said something about like maybe I could, and he said like maybe I could fit you guys on there. So we started recording another demo, and that was when me and Bobby split off. Me and the drummer Frank, who was a super young kid that was amazing, we both wanted to get a little more like aggressive, a little more, I don't know. And Bobby and Dan wanted to be more like super pop punk. They were like, we want to be more like, Simple Plan vibes, and we wanted to be a little more, a little more punk rock, a little more like, I don't know if I want to say maybe like post punk kind of vibes.
Yeah.
So we just kind of split apart, and Bobby formed the Promise Hero and got hooked up with TDR Records through
great label.
I think Bobby like sent some like demos to like Drive-Thru, and they sent them to Hopeless, and they sent them to it kind of like got bounced around and got picked up by TDR, and like Mike, who runs it, is great. I went to his wedding. Like he's a
He's a
super
former
cool
guest
dude.
of the show too. He's one of the
Yeah.
best dudes as well. They're speaking of good labels. They're up there as one of the
he's
best.
great. He's great. And what's crazy is, he's from Chicago, and he was in a band called Mayfield, and me and Bobby grew up in Mayfield, Ohio, which is like weird.
Nice. I go to the
Yeah.
the Sam Ash there all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. There's Sam Ash and Guitar Center. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's another one of my crazy stories. I really have like at least one more in my arsenal. Well, a lot more than that, but.
Oh, dude, if you have any you wanna let out, I love these stories.
I think that's all the tea I had to spill, but
You're out of tea.
yeah, I'm all out of tea.
That was some damn good tea,
And,
though. That was
thank
really
you,
good
thank
tea.
I mean, I could probably, I don't want to be like known as like a shit talker or anything. No.
No, you gotta save it. A little shit talking each time. Like that's the other thing. Like,
Yeah.
like you come on and it's like, all right, you let a little shit talking out here. All right, good. You're good for now. All right, then you
Yeah.
come back, a little more shit talking, then a little
No,
more.
but no, but for real, like, I obviously I love Drive Through Records. I love everybody and everything. But yeah, so I guess one thing that me and Bobby did was I had seen this Warped Tour DVD, and Kevin Lyman was talking about how he loves helping out bands and like hooking them up with stages. Sorry, my puppy's chewing on a water bottle. So I give him that so he doesn't chew on me. I'm like, oh, like,
Hey, that's better.
yeah. So so I saw this DVD, this Warped Tour DVD with like Richard Raines. The fact that it's a DVD shows how old I am. The kids are like, "What's a DVD?" I was like, "Guys, I have this idea." I'm like, "We're gonna when Warped Tour comes here, we're gonna all get in the van and drive up there, and we're gonna sneak in, and we're gonna find Kevin Lyman, and he's gonna put us on a stage." And Bobby and everybody were like, "That's not gonna happen." And I was like so confident. I'm like, "Trust me, it's gonna happen." So they're like, "All right." So we like all slept over our practice spot and like went. And so we pull up to like, this is like in the morning, all the buses are pulling into the lot.
Oh yeah.
And so we pull up into the driveway, and this security guard stops us. And they're like, "Justin, you talk. We don't know what to say." And we say like, "Hey," and so I pop my head out of the van. I'm like, "Hey, we're here to see Richard Raines." And he says like, "Oh, you need your credentials?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're here to pick up our credentials." He's like, "Okay, yeah, go on through." And they all look at me. They're like, "What the?" And I'm like, "Told you guys." I really had no clue what the fuck I was saying. But the security guard lets us in. So all these bands like Silverstein, I see like the singer Silverstein get out of his bus and spit out his toothpaste, and like all these, this is like 2005 or something. So it's, so many good bands were like, playing so much good like pop punk and screamo and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I think it was somebody from this band on Victory called The Hurt Process. I was like, "Hey man, have you seen Richard?" He's like, "Oh, I think he went this way. Here, come with me." So this dude's like leading me to Richard, and then I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong dude.
Kevin Lyman?
Yeah, not Rich. Yeah. So so I finally find Kevin Lyman. He's with these two giant dudes in like Hawaiian shirts that I saw in the DVD. They're like a security detail or something. And I literally go up to him, and I'm like, "Hey Kevin, I'm in a band called the Honor Roll. We just snuck in, and we'd love to play one of the stages." And he goes, "Oh, the Honor Roll? Yeah, I've heard of you guys. Hold on a second." And then gets on his walkie, and he's like, "Do we have a stage for the Honor Roll?" And then he's like, "How about how about the Kevin Says stage on at noon?" And then we're like, "Yeah, sure." And then I realized he probably thinks that we were the honorary title or like the honor system or one of these other honor bands. And I'm like, somehow everything is just, I'm like Mr. Magoo, like I'm just stumbling around, but somehow I make it across the fucking bridge, even though the pieces are falling apart.
Yeah.
Like I literally just stumbled, and every step of the way, the guys are just looking at me like, "What the fuck? Like, how is this happening?" So I think this is back when there was like flip phones, so I got on my Razor flip phone, and I'm like, "Hey, we're playing, at noon." And then he goes, "Oh, you can go into the office area," and like the Warped Tour staff was helping us make handmade posters that said "Honor Roll Noon Kevin Says stage," and that was like, that's not the Ernie Ball stage, that's like an actual stage.
Yeah.
Like I think like we opened like pretty much who was, I think that band Name Taken, who was a pretty good pop punk
nice.
band.
Yeah, they're a good band.
Played that stage and some. Yeah, so we played to like, you know, a nice little crowd. People were just walking in, they're kind of gathering. And the crazy part is like, you know, we pretty much were able to get backstage and like watch our favorite bands. This story actually gets crazy. So we're walking around backstage. For some reason, Dan had brought his acoustic guitar. And who do we see? Tim Armstrong.
Oh, hell yes.
So me and Dan, this is backstage. I think the Transplants were playing.
2000. I was just about to say that. I think 05, that would have been the Transplants.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Transplants. So me and Dan walk up to Tim Armstrong, and Dan started playing either an Operation Ivy song or a Rancid song or something. And then he started out, and then somehow he grabbed a guitar. I don't know I can't remember if he had it on him or he ran into the bus or something. But we're having a fucking jam session with Tim fucking Armstrong. This whole thing is based on nothing. This whole thing, we literally should not even be there.
This is so bizarre.
Isn't like, it sounds like I'm making this up, but I swear to God, I'm atheist, but I swear to God. No. So yeah, I swear you can ask Bobby, and Bobby does not tell a lie. So we're having a jam session with Tim Armstrong, and like he's singing, like we're all singing along, and he goes, "Hey, what band are you in?" And then we're like, we're in the honor roll. He goes, "Oh," he's like, "I think I saw you in The Last Stop." And then we're like, "Okay, we're definitely not in The Last Stop." And he goes, "You guys got a demo?" And I was like, "Oh my God." So I ran to the van, I grabbed a little CDR that had my phone number on it for our contact information. And I'm like, I ran the car, gave it to him, and I'm like, "Here you go." He's like, "Hey, thanks, man." He walked on his bus, probably threw it in the trash, lit it on fire, and then pissed on it. No. And I remember thinking for like weeks later, I'm like, oh my God. I was like checking my phone for Tim Armstrong to call me. He must have lost it because he hasn't called me. I'm sure he loved our
He's just been looking for the number. He just heard the new Low Morale. He's like, how do I get a hold? I've been looking to get a hold of you for years.
If you ever go to a Rancid show and they're a little late getting on stage, it's because he was fumbling through his stuff looking for that CDR so he can call me.
If I'm ever at a Rancid show, I'll hold up a sign with your face on it. And just, he'll know what it means. He'll know.
Be like, "I saw him at our last show."
Yeah, that last stop. We saw him at the last stop.
Yeah. So and the story keeps going. So I remember watching Matchbook Romance on stage, and I looked and someone's kind of up against me, and I look, and it's Mike Carrera from MXPX, like literally up against me. I don't know why he was so close, but I remember looking at him and him kind of nodding, like, "Yo, what's up?" And then like I immediately just shit my pants. So then some people are like, "Hey, you're gonna come to the barbecue afterwards?" I guess all the bands like get together after every Warped Tour. So we're in line. The Casualty, like I guess they take turns, like different bands like cook the barbecue. So the Casualties are cooking hot dogs, and we're in this line. Motion City Soundtrack's literally right in front of us in line, and I'm like, this is crazy, and everyone's just hanging out and partying, and I see Kevin Lyman, you know, the owner of Warped Tour. So I go up to him like, "Hey man, thank you so much for letting us play." And he goes, "Do you want to play the next few dates?"
Damn.
And I'm like, "What?" Like he definitely thought we were a different band. He has to like there's no way he had heard of us. Like we didn't even put out an album. I mean, we had stuff on like MySpace and all that stuff, but and Pure Volume. But
Pure Volume.
So yeah. So I run to the band. I'm like, "Dude, Kevin Lyman just asked if we want to play the next 2 dates." And it ended up, our drummer was like, he's like, "I have a wedding tomorrow. I can't do it." And I'm like, "Dude,
what?"
Like we were asked to play Warped Tour." He goes, "You've obviously never been to an Italian wedding."
So more important than Warped Tour?
Yeah, I guess so.
Damn.
So I hope that was an awesome wedding, Frank.
Because Warped Tour wouldn't have been. Playing Warped, you would have forgotten about Warped Tour at this point. That little stint on Warped Tour, you would have forgotten about it.
Yeah, and we don't even have like footage of that because I mean, I don't know.
Those are early days. Those are you don't document
I guess
shit as often.
I guess like some cell phones had cameras back then, but even so, they was like really grainy and shitty.
Dude, even if you had video, I was about to say, think of the quality of that. Like, that moving pixelated thing is Tim Armstrong.
Yeah, I still would have had to be like, I swear that's me.
Yeah, just the like muffled noise
on,
that like the cover would be, like even you playing along to him, just coming out of that shitty little Razor speaker too. Like I swear it's Tim Armstrong. Like that's just a homeless guy.
Yeah, I'd have to get like some kind of digital forensics team from like from what's that one, Discovery, whatever. But Investigative Discovery or whatever that channel is.
You need some professionals. You need them on the job for this. I need them to know this is Tim Armstrong. I need the world to know
that I'm not bullshitting, that I jam with Tim Armstrong.
This is not a homeless man who just happened to know how to play Ruby Soho on an acoustic guitar.
You know what'd be really funny is if I really I didn't know it, but I had some like weird like chemical reaction to something, and I like went into a coma and dreamed that whole thing.
The whole thing was made up.
Or I was tripping on something, and I really was just talking to a homeless guy outside of like a Kmart. And in my head, I was backstage at Warped Tour. It was outside of the
dumpster of Hot Topic. So that's why you thought you were at Warped.
Yeah, but in my head, like I really do think it happened, but it didn't.
It was just a goth teen bringing the garbage out from Hot Topic. That's why you thought you were at Warped.
Oh my! Exactly.
Damn.
And I went up to like the janitor at Kmart, and I'm like, "Hey, can we get backstage?" He's like, "Yeah, sure."
Where's Richard? You get him on he's over the loudspeaker in Kmart asking for Richard Raines to come to the front desk.
Yeah.
Or Kevin Lyman, get to the front desk, please.
I'm laying down. I'm ready for you. Oh wait, no, he'd be the one laying down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're getting it all mixed up, man.
That's actually my fantasy.
No, that was Tim Armstrong walking on your back.
Yeah.
That was the part you left out.
It's all mixed up.
That was the part you left out of the story.
When I'm like 90 and trying to tell these stories, I'd be like, yeah, then Tim Armstrong walked on my back.
I'm pretty sure Travis Barker was there. I think it was the transplants. I think he watched.
I think so. Yeah. Then he performed the transplant.
Did you like that whole time though too? Like, were you waiting at all for just someone to go, hey, wait a second? Like, you're not like leading up to that whole time, like with them helping you make posters and shit. Like at that point, did you think you were just good, or were you waiting to get found out that whole time?
No, you asking that now makes 100% total sense. I think a normal person would be thinking that, but
not at all.
But back then, I was so like, just like I had tunnel vision. My goal was to, take advantage of any opportunity, I possibly can to like make music, a music career happen. Yeah. So like, I just had tunnel vision, and like, that's all I cared about. You know what I mean?
No lie, that's admirable though, because like honestly, doing shit like that, I think you have to have such a confidence, and maybe even a blind confidence to like.
A little bit, yeah.
Because if you go in thinking, if you went in there that whole time, and it makes sense, because if you went in there thinking in the back of your head, I'm gonna get caught, it wouldn't work out. I think you need to have that tunnel vision that you're talking about, where it's like, no, like this makes sense. Like I'll just go in, like I'll just do these things.
Like, honestly, I think part of the reason where I got this like idea that I can just do this shit is I would watch like Behind the Music on VH1 all the time, and there'd be artists that say, that do stuff like this, you know what I mean? That kind of like, sneak their way into stuff, you know what I mean? And like I would hear all these stories about how, they went above and beyond and kind of just did the stuff that most people wouldn't even think to do or have the guts to do, and, snuck in somewhere and talked to like, a musician that they like looked up to or whatever and got hooked up or whatever. So yeah, I would just go above and beyond, and just, I almost like wouldn't take no for an answer. It's just like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I'm sure a sane person would be like, dude, there's no way you're going to get into, they have like security, like you're not going to get backstage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, but the thing is like, the worst that could have happened is they would have said, no, you can't come back here. And then I'd be back where I was anyway. So, I mean,
that's
like,
a great way to think of it, honestly. You have not a lot to lose there.
Exactly. When you have nothing to lose, like, you know what I mean? As long as like the negative outcome isn't that bad, like I'm not going to be injured or in jail or, you know, anything like that.
Yeah, it's not going to end your
then I
career or
think-
anything like that.
Exactly. So it's like you might as well just go for it if, you know,
That's a good point.
if no one's getting hurt and, you know, nothing is, you know, illegal or whatever.
I mean, it ended.
yeah.
I mean, you maybe didn't get to play all those other shows, but I mean, yeah, it ended up in the long run. It did work out. Like all those things worked out in your favor.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. And yeah, I mean, I wish I still had. I mean, that was over 15 years ago already. Like,
Damn.
So yeah, I mean, as I get older, I definitely like lose a little of the confidence, you know, like, because back then it was just, especially when you're younger and you're like 20s and stuff, it's like, you just think like, you know, your whole life is ahead of you, you know, you have nothing to lose. Like, you know what I mean? So, and
totally.
as I get older, I get a little more like hip to like how depressing the world is. And you know what I mean? And,
It happens.
And, yeah, exactly. And like reality sets in a little bit, and you know what I mean? And, so yeah, I mean, but I still try to, you know, I take it, you know, I guess I take whatever chances I can still and see what happens. So,
If tomorrow we find out Warped Tour is coming back, are you jumping that fence and trying to go find Kevin Lyman again? Could you do that?
I'm not
present
jumping the
day?
fence. I want to be let in by the security guard. No, I'm kidding. I'm just gonna say, hey, I'm here to get my credentials from Kevin. And
That's all
he's
you
gonna
got
be
to do.
Oh, okay.
This works.
Come on in.
Damn, dude, just like clockwork. It's like, yeah, it worked again. I need my credential. You know what? That is genius on your part, because it's like right away you're just kind of like, well, I don't have it, but this is why. You give them a reason right
Exactly.
away. You establish why.
Yeah.
Like, because instead, if you're him and Han, they're gonna go, oh, get the hell out of here, kid. Like,
Yeah.
you're obviously not supposed to be here. But you set it up in a way like, no, I'm supposed to be, like, you're supposed to be helping me. Like, I'm waiting now. I need you to go get me credentials.
It was just that like he threw me a softball. Like he, instead of, you know, leaving it open ended, he said like, oh, are you here to get your credentials? And I was just like, yeah. And he's like, go on through.
And Warped Tour is probably one of the only places too, like when you think about it, it's like, yeah, like a couple of like teenagers, like 20-year-olds, like coming in like that, just asking that's not weird. How many other, you know what I mean? Like how many other guys probably dressed like you and everything, like came in that day for credentials? You know what I mean? Like you don't look so out of place.
I was wearing a mini skirt and a tube top. I was kind of going for like when in like Looney Tunes and like Bugs Bunny would dress up to try to like seduce Elmer Fudd. That's what I think that might have been part of the key why it worked.
That's how you got in.
But,
that was
really
the
how
part
I got
you
in.
forgot it. You left that part out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally glossed over that part. And I just, you know, like fluttered my eyelashes or my eyelids, and
your sweet talking worked.
Yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do, man. It's a tough business.
Security guards, Kevin Lyman and Tim Armstrong. You're melting hearts just as you go along.
I guess so. But
oh man.
Yeah, so to answer your question, an hour later, yes, me and Bobby have jammed.
Oh my god. That is a great. Oh my god, that was amazing, dude, that you even remembered the start of that. Props to you.
But me and Bobby actually do have another project called Break Routine. We released a couple EPs. We haven't done anything in a while now, but I think there's some stuff on YouTube and stuff. But yeah, so we have collaborated on some other stuff, and he helps me demo and stuff. And yeah, it's just, you know, he's more of like a singer-songwriter kind of vibe now.
Oh, totally.
And I mean, he's a great pop songwriter, but you know, I'm a little more, I guess, punk. I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
I know, but I think if people listen though to like, well, I think they would know what you mean. Like, I totally know what you're saying.
But I mean, you know, one thing that we both have in common is we both love melody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and Bobby always says that he's like, I think the reason why you write such catchy stuff is because you have like really bad ADD. So if it's not catchy, you won't remember it.
So you got to write something memorable.
Which is kind of a backhanded compliment, but I'll take it where I can get it. And so, yeah, I don't know. I like writing stuff that like I could picture being in the crowd singing along to. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hear that on the new. I hear it on the new album. There's definitely like sing along parts. Like I can see these songs. Like you'd be a fun live band to go see. I think for sure. Like these songs would work live.
That's actually always been my view of it, almost to a fault, where it's almost a bad thing, because like I always think like, as long as, you know, my goal is kind of like, when people see us live, I want them to be like, I want everyone to be like entertained, whether they like love our music or not. Maybe they think we suck, maybe they think we're okay, but I want everyone to leave like having a good time. And when I think back, I think like when me and Bobby were in the honor roll, I feel like I kind of was so concerned with putting on a really energetic, awesome, interactive show that I almost like wasn't concentrating on how good I was singing. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, and people always like, oh, you're such a good front man. And then, but then I realized I'm like, I probably should have been concentrating more on actually sounding good, but I don't know. Maybe that goes along with the whole punk vibe. I don't know.
I feel like there's a balance of that, because there's bands where, like, I mean, honestly, Blink-182 kind of comes to mind, where like I don't know that they always sound tight live, but I've seen or heard performances where it's more of a feeling. You know what I mean? They're playing sloppy, but if you're watching it, you go, oh damn! Like if you were in that audience, you get feeding off that energy. Like they're not, and I love Blink-182, but like they're not world-class musicians or up there trying to like play their songs perfectly, but it's like you get that part of that compromise is the energy that they're giving you. It is kind of that like balance.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I grew up listening to Blink too, and I always felt they kind of like practiced their banter more than their actual songs.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Because every time I've seen Blink, like Tom's guitar is super out of tune, like he's singing out of tune, but their banter is perfect. Their banter is always in tune.
And it's so, I love it too, because I've seen them play like multiple times on one tour, and I remember the opening band. Yeah. I remember Panic at the Disco opened for them, and everything they said in between songs was literally, I saw them like 3 times on that tour. They said the same shit in between songs, whereas Blink came out just off the cuff, ridiculous and funny every time. It didn't matter. Tom DeLonge would, and both of them, and they feed off each other, but I would say Tom is the king of stage banter with that, and just funniest shit just out of nowhere, like just ad-libbed, not really like, you're right, like just so, like that's the performance too. There's the music, but then there's the shit in between their songs.
And like, I listened to that the Mark, Tom, and Travis.
Oh, the banter on
CD.
that whole bonus songs.
I love that, but if you listen to it like today, you're like, wow, like they would definitely be canceled.
Oh
like,
my god,
some of the stuff they're saying,
100%.
Some of it's like a couple things are a little like cringe, like just being in today's like world, like and hearing it again.
Oh, even Satan. I think even the Satan character might not be.
Oh no, the Satan holds up, I think.
Oh, I love Satan too. I think
if there's ever a time where Satan works, it's now.
Oh, okay.
We are living in Satan's
That's
universe.
A good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, but no, I love that album. But what was I gonna say about that?
Just the banter. I think you were talking about the banter.
Yeah, just the banter. Yeah, but I do think it's funny that Tom would always say like the craziest, most immature stuff, and then he's like, I'm going to start Angels and Airwaves, and I'm going to be like Bono and be super serious. And it's like, well, yeah, but you're saying like fart and like fart jokes and talking about like having sex with dogs like a few years ago, bro.
Oh no, you're like 100%. There's one. Here's a joke song about me having sex with my dad. Now let's talk about like aliens and other universes and black holes and things. It is a wild spectrum of like Tom DeLonge.
It's just like it's just like a very hard turn. You know what I mean?
That's a great. Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's like he's going from like I don't know, like from being like Mr. Bean to being Gandhi. You know what I mean? It's like
it is really
like, I feel like there should have been something in between the two. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it'll forever plague him, because I think there's that part of him that and I think that's still in him, like just dick jokes and stuff. But there's that other side of him that I think so badly wants people to take him seriously. But the problem is, like you got big off an album called Enema of the State. Like it's hard, you know what I mean? It's hard to shake that image where for 20 years, like running around naked, every album title is a dick joke. There's like, I mean, basically everything is your career is built on dick jokes. So it's like,
exactly,
it's hard to be too angry. And I don't know that he's angry, but I do think it plagues him that like people still want that side of him, when sometimes I think he does just want to talk about like Bigfoot and aliens and not joke around.
Yeah. And did you know that like I feel stupid? I've been listening to Blink for over 20 years, and I just like last year realized that Dude Ranch is like a metaphor for sperm.
I just realized that
male-
last year too, dude.
For ejaculate. I never got that, like, dude ranch.
Bro, it was
like-
like 11 o'clock at night, I swear to you, like a year or so ago, and I don't even know what the hell I was doing, but just late at night it popped in my head, and I went, oh, that's it. That's a joke,
like-
too.
I always thought the joke was that dude ranch is a real kind of ranch, and they were using the word dude, like, in the, you know, like in the skate community, or, you know, like in the West Coast, like we would say dude. So I thought that was the joke, that the word dude is in it. But then I realized, yeah, it's ejaculate.
Well, because also the pictures, like I look at it and go like with the bowl, you know, like with the bowl and they, you know, the big, huge bowl balls on it, and then those pictures, like the inside has all those funny pictures of them on a dude ranch. So like I never went any further than just thinking,
taking it literally,
kind of
literally,
which is silly because that would have meant that they just called it dude ranch and then afterwards decided to like take those pictures and shit. So some of my logic doesn't make total sense now that I look back.
And the bull on the cover did have huge balls, so he had a lot of dude ranch.
Yeah, like I thought that was the joke. Honestly, that was the joke. I thought it was just those there's huge bull balls on it, and they can get away with doing that. It's like calling their album "Enema of the State" or "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket." Like you can you can get away with it, so you just do it.
Exactly. But and I mean, and I also don't want to, you know, act like, oh, you know, you need to only have, you know, one view or like one vibe, and you're not allowed to have anything else. Because, I mean, you know, we all have different facets of our personality and everything. It's like,
for sure.
I mean, I kind of struggle with that myself, even, you know, in writing music, because, you know, I listen to everything from like, you know, fat record stuff to, you know, more like emos. You know, I grew up listening to like the Get Up Kids and, you know, more like emo stuff like that. So, I mean, I kind of feel like I'm doing like a balancing act between like West Coast skate punk, you know, East Coast, like emo, and Midwest, like, I don't know, rock. Like, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I almost feel like sometimes we're like too punk for the emo kids and too emo for the punk kids because we kind of like, because we kind of just straddle that, you know, I don't know, that middle ground there. I don't know.
No, I can hear it. Like, I can definitely hear it in the music, and there is like, it is, I think, including if you look back at like a lot of the classic bands we've been talking about, like a lot of the pop punk is very much a like Southern California kind of West Coast thing, and a lot of that great like emo and post-hardcore and like some of that, like, you know, I mean, not even totally out of that like wheelhouse, but still like, you know, sadder or whatever you want to say, heavier version of it. Is more Midwest, like the Midwest is where that
Midwest
good
and
stuff.
East Coast have so many great emo, and I mean, look at like New Jersey alone.
Oh my God,
Saves the Day, Lifetime, Senses Fail. I mean, you can go on and on with all the great. That entire
state, like, is so that is one that gets mentioned on this show a lot. There's a lot of amazing bands from there.
There's something in the water in like New Jersey and Chicago and in like
Chicago's another
and in like Southern California.
It's
Chicago.
I also think too, it's partly like, I think the weather and stuff like that. Because in my opinion, like if you go and hang out in like San Diego or something, you get why Blink is the way they are. Because like you can't really be that sad. It's like sunny and beaches and shit. Like you need to be in like the Midwest with lake effect snow, and it like is dark and snowing at 5 o'clock in December. And like, you know, you have time to either be in the house writing, or you're just sad and depressed in a way that you're not going to get on a sunny beach, as hard as you try.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why, like, you know, even though I love, you know, bands from all those areas, probably like my very favorite bands are from like Chicago or the East Coast. Like I'm like, probably my favorite band is might be like Alkaline Trio.
Yes.
I like, which, you know, like our song International No, when I hear a lot, like, oh, I thought that was Alkaline Trio.
There's some heavy trio vibes on that.
No, I mean, I you know, I definitely going in, I was like, wow, this sounds very Alkaline Trio, but you know, it's whatever. Like they're one of my biggest influences. Yeah. And like, I love it. And what's great about me and Steve writing together is he'll write like the instrumental and he'll have one idea in his head, and then I'll put the vocals over it and I'll have a totally different idea. Cause like I listen to like I love like dance rock. I love like indie rock. I like, you know, and he listens to a lot of more like just like punk rock. So there was like, I think it was Quarantine Dreams when he was writing it, he was picturing like more of like a Millencolin vibe. And then when I wrote the vocals for it, I was almost picturing like this band Basement from the UK that I love, this kind of neo.
Oh, they're definitely different than Millencolin.
Like emo band. Yeah, very different. both have accents, but yeah. So I mean, that's what I love about being in a band with Steve is he's not only a great songwriter, but you know, we'll have kind of two slightly different influences and just mash it together. So, and they kind of create something that like, it's not reinventing the wheel, but you know, it kind of, it's different enough where, you know, you can't really pinpoint exactly what it is. Well, some songs like International No One, but yeah, but like some songs, like you can't really like pinpoint exactly like, you know, is this like more of like an emo song? Is it more of like a punk rock song? Is it more like alternative? Like, and I kind of like that because I feel like there's so many bands that just go out there and just like literally try to sound like one band. Like there's so many bands out there just trying to sound like Title Fight or like, you know,
there's a ton of that right now.
Or trying to sound like Citizen or, you know, that whole scene. There's so many bands that are just like that kind of like neo grunge indie emo vibe. And I dig some of those bands, but it's just like, but like when I grew up, it's like, yeah, well, like when we grew up listening to music, it's like when you hear Ghetto Kids, you know right away that's Ghetto Kids. When you hear Alkaline Trio, you know right away that's Alkaline Trio. When you hear, you know, like so many different bands like Rancid, you know it's Rancid. You know, and then like there's bands like Hot Rod Circuit who, you know, they're like, let's add a little twangy Southern guitar to, you know, to this, you know, emo rock or whatever. So I like bands that kind of have their own sound. So at least with most of our stuff, it's like we kind of put enough stuff in the blender to kind of, in a way, make it our own, I guess. I don't know.
No, I agree with that because I think it's a lot of your songs go in places that are less predictable than maybe they would be if you were just both like trying to sound like one band or just try to be like a straight up pop punk band or like a band that sounds like a throwback to this or that. Like I feel like there's like a blending of everything.
Yeah.
And you have a good point because like I think right now you see a lot of it. I love Title Fight, but I think we're at a point now where they're a band who seems to have really big influence on current bands. And if you are influenced by them, there's so many good bands where you're like, oh, I can tell they listen to Title Fight. But the difference is the bands, you're right, who go, they just straight up want to sound like Title Fight. And that's the problem. That's when you start getting those copies where it's like I was just talking to a local musician a few weeks ago on here, talking about pop punk and like, again, kind of going back to Blink. I love Blink. And sure, if you're influenced by Blink, I mean, I'll probably like what you're doing, but bands who try to just straight up be Blink, they're terrible. They're always bad. It's never good. So it's like, you got to know that line. It's one thing to be influenced by something, but then just trying to like rewrite that band's music or whatever, it's like you're just going to fail miserably because you're not that person.
Yeah. Like someone once told me, I think I was at a party and some dude, I think it was Tim Armstrong. No, I'm kidding. Just some random dude at a party. No, seriously, I remember I was in the kitchen and wasted and some dude was like, hey man, we were talking about music and he's like, we were talking about just, you know, bands, you know, songwriting and stuff. And he was like, you should always try to like sound like yourself because if you're trying to sound like a certain band, that band already exists. So unless you could play their songs better than they could, don't try to sound like them, sound like yourself.
That's a good
point. And I thought
point.
that was like, yeah. So, so I kind of took that to, you know, I always kind of kept it in the back of my head. So I don't know.
It's a wise piece of wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. And I love Title Fight. I love like, you know, bands like Fiddlehead and like all that stuff. Like I'm all about it. So yeah.
I think they're a band. I've been calling it for a while. Like those bands who weren't huge when they were around, but then are broken up and then like 10 years later or whatever, maybe a little longer, all of a sudden, like there's this huge, they like, once they broke up, they influenced waves and waves of bands, then will like kind of come back and play the festival circuit and shit. That's what I see Title Fight's future being. I 100% that they'll be like the next Jawbreaker. Like you're not, you're somewhat big, like you're not big, but maybe you're touring shit when you're around initially. But after years of being broken up, all of a sudden your sound is all over. Everyone's influenced by you, and then all of a sudden, you just blew the hell up years after the fact. I really think that's going to happen with Title Fight.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Like I always see like tweets and memes and stuff like, oh, waiting for this pandemic to end is like waiting for Title Fight to get back together.
Everyone had to shit on Hyperview. This is what we get. You all should have liked Hyperview.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. That's right. They started getting a little more shoegazy, and you could tell they bought a bunch of like effects pedals.
Oh, they bought phasers. They went hard in the phasers.
Yeah, they put phasers on fun. But they changed their sound a little bit, but I
liked that album.
I still dig it. Going back to like when you're talking about how you feel like maybe like the region where bands are from kind of like affect the way they sound.
Oh yeah.
One band that like I love so much, I just thought of it because I was listening today, is this band Banner Pilot.
One of my favorites. One of the best fat bands.
Yeah, and I think I think part of the reason why I love them is they're from Minneapolis, which actually where me and Bobby lived for a while when we were younger. Where a lot of great bands, Motion City Soundtrack, Dillinger 4.
Yes. There's
like a ton of great bands from Minneapolis. But like that band, like a lot of their songs are kind of about, mention like the cold and
oh, absolutely.
And kind of having like defrost and just waiting for sunshine. And they had this lyric, the song Summer Somewhere on our album is actually a Banner Pilot lyric. He says it's summer somewhere, which always kind of like stuck in my head because it's such a great lyric. Like, it's warmer somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like a hopeful, especially living in Minneapolis where it's like super cold and the snow like does not melt. It just piles up and
you wouldn't have that aggression if you were a West Coast man. Like even in like their vocals and shit, like that's a gruff 6-month hard winters, like stuck inside darkness real early. Like they're one that pops. Like if we're talking Midwest pop punk, they are like the first band to jump in my head.
Yeah, like you could hear in his voice. He was just out shoving his driveway for like 4 hours. You could totally hear it in his voice. He's sick of this shit.
I love it too. I lived in Minneapolis for a year, and there's lots of just even little references in their lyrics that you're like, shit, like just a street, like just Garfield Avenue, even like listening to Skeleton Key, you're like, oh shit, Garfield Ave. I bet I've hung out there, like just things like that.
And same with like Atmosphere, who's an awesome hip hop group from Minneapolis. They both they'll like mention street names. Like I think Banner Pilot and Atmosphere like mention like Lindale Avenue.
Yeah.
Which I used to like go by. It's like where the Best Buy headquarters is. I saw the Foo Fighters play in a Best Buy on Lindale Avenue.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. Like it's cool, like hearing those little landmarks and everything. But I don't know, man. But I guess being from Cleveland, which is kind of they call it the heartland in the middle. I guess I just kind of absorb sounds from all around me.
I mean, you're the beginning of, at least for me, because I'm in Western New York, so like Ohio's the beginning of the Midwest. So like in my eyes, anytime I'm like heading west, you're the beginning. I mean, like I get there, I'm like, you guys are the start of it. So it only makes sense that's like
for sure
where influence and sound comes from, and you definitely fit in with all that. Definitely for Midwest like pop punk.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of bands from Cleveland now that are getting pretty big. The two biggest bands right now that just got signed, or not just got signed, but Heart Attack Man and Heart and Lung.
Oh, two great bands. I love both those bands.
If we would have had Heart in our name, we would have been signed by now. But we fucked up again.
Dude, you really did.
Yeah. So Heart Attack Man is like blowing up. They used to practice right like in the next room when we had this old practice spot. I won't say the name of it in case there's any stalkers out there. Heart Attack Man stalkers in case there's. But yeah, there's a big warehouse where you could rent out rooms, and we'd always see them in the halls and stuff. They're like awesome dudes. And then Heart and Lung we played a few shows with. They're great. And and then there's like Light Years from Kent.
I love Light Years. They're another good one.
Yeah, ironically, they're from Kent, and their drummer Kent used to be in a band before this band. I was in a band that he drummed for, and he used to just fill in for them once in a while. And then after we broke up, he just started drumming full time for them. So that's pretty awesome. He's a great drummer.
No, you guys have there are some really there's some really good bands that have come out of Cleveland, even in like recent years.
Oh yeah,
I mean all those are recent.
There's a ton of great bands. There's a band called Worship This that are on Anti-Flag's record label, AF Records. They're from if they're not from Cleveland, they're from like around here. They're great. I don't know. There's just so many good bands.
It's bands and venues. You guys have some of the best venues, I would say, like in the country. Being from a small area, like if I go to shows, it's either Buffalo, Cleveland, Erie, or Pittsburgh. And I would say of all of them, Cleveland's the one with the best venues and normally the best shows.
Yeah, there's a lot, people kind of talk shit about Cleveland or whatever because, we're not New York or even Chicago. But yeah, but the thing is that like if you actually like hang out around here and like explore, you'll find some awesome stuff. Like shout out to the Grog Shop, one of my favorite venues.
One of the best venues, man. One of the best venues in the world.
Yeah, and like I bartended there. And they also have a club downstairs called B-Side I would bartend at for like 5 years, actually right up until the pandemic. And they're so cool. Like Kathy, the owner, would do all she could to kind of like, she tried to raise money and send us, some funds or whatever to pay our bills. And this great artist, Jake Kelly, who does a lot of like band like flyers and stuff and artwork around here. He did an awesome like little drawing that he like made posters of and signed, and he raised a bunch of money for the staff. And there's like a lot of great venues. Mahal's is right down the street from me.
Another one I love.
There's now that's Class where we'll be playing supposedly March 13th with Spells.
Which if you're in the area, we're down here in Jamestown, but Cleveland's like, if people go to shows, Cleveland is definitely like within our area, like a 2.5 hour drive. So if you're near Cleveland, go check that out as long as it happens.
The shows may be canceled.
You'll find out. But like if it's going on, go head up there.
Don't fly in from Alaska to go to a show in Cleveland because
you're listening to this in Alaska.
Yeah.
Hold off.
Yeah.
Maybe hold off.
Hold off. Yeah. It shows, how things are. So
maybe just grab tickets at the door. If you're coming from Alaska, just grab tickets at the door.
Yeah, exactly. But man, the scene's awesome. I remember honestly back when me and Bobby were in the honor roll together, the scene was a lot different. It was back in like the Screamo days and stuff, and it was very competitive. It was super competitive. And like, we kind of like party together and stuff, but I feel like at the end of the day, it was like a race to see who can get signed next. Where like now I feel like things are a lot more supportive and a lot more like mature. And
that's a lot better for a scene. I don't feel like you want the competition so much in a scene.
Exactly. But I do remember there was a band that used to open for me and Bobby called Driver Set Impact, who ended up getting signed to Victory. They're from Cleveland, and what was I going to say? I definitely should not have smoked that weed. So anyway, okay, I don't know what I was going to say. So I think we were at that club B-Side, and Brennan, the singer of Driver Set Impact, came up to me and Bobby, and he said, this is right after they got signed, and he's like, hey, I just want you guys to know that I'm going to come back and get you both signed. I want to make Cleveland like the new Chicago, because in Chicago, Fall Out Boy went and made, got everyone else signed, Gym Class Heroes, the Academy Is, Plain White Tees,
Half of Fueled by Ramen, I feel like, was Chicago bands.
Yeah. So like, I feel like all the Chicago bands like really like, helped each other out and stuff. So he's like, I want to make Cleveland like the new Chicago, and I'm going to come back and get all you guys signed. And, and he was stoked because they were doing a House of Blues tour with like Bayside. This is like 2005 or something. And then they ended up breaking up after like a couple of years. So that never happened, but we were almost. Cleveland was so close to being next Chicago.
Damn.
It just fell through. But there was one more thing I was going to say about something. What were we talking about before? I don't know. I give up. But anyway, yeah, okay, never mind.
We were talking about Cleveland venues, and then oh man, I'm trying to think of like where to retrace from there.
Oh no, yeah, we're screwed.
That's okay.
Sorry, I started petting my dog, and he's so cute, and I just totally blanked out. Okay, he's got that. Eyes. He's got that. You put me in a trance. I got yeah. So
Ham dog gotcha.
Yeah, he got me again. He did it again.
So as far as low morale, we got new music people should go check out. you hopefully have a show coming up, and sounds like you're working on new music. So I mean, like, what's the future, I guess, altogether you think have in store for Low Morale? What can we expect?
Well, we're hoping to play a lot more shows, assuming we literally can, with all the cancellations and everything. But yeah, we want to play a lot of shows. I would love to tell you that we're gonna be recording this year. Hopefully, we'll make it happen. We do have a few more songs written, and just maybe sneak into Warp Tour or something. I don't know.
Go hang out with Tim Armstrong again.
Jam with Tim Armstrong. I don't know, something like that.
The normal Wednesday night in Cleveland.
Yeah, maybe walk on someone's back. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All at the Grog Shop.
All at the Grog Shop. Yep.
All of this goes down on the Grog Shop stage.
It all comes full circle.
It's a benefit to save the grog. Walk on Tim Armstrong's back for $5.
Exactly.
I think I just saved live music, you guys. I just saved a lot of venues around the country.
You figured it out.
Everyone's been sitting here scratching their head, and this whole time
it was right under our nose.
It was right on our back.
It was right under our backs.
It was right under our back, the small of our back this whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
But that is rad, man. I mean, the new release is great. I mean, I think, and we'll play some shit after this here. I think pop punk fans and just fans of the show in general will like what you guys do. But I don't know, like where can people find the music? Where can they find you online? Like all that good stuff. People enjoyed this. Where can they now stay connected with Justin Vaughn and Low Morale?
Well, I think if you just go to allmylinks.com/Low Morale, that will bring you to all of our links. That will bring you to all of my links. So allmylinks.com/Low Morale. You can look us up on Instagram and Twitter. We're at the Low Morale. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, YouTube. Just look us up, I guess. And or just look up Low Morale if you're depressed and want to solve that. But so hopefully this year we'll have some more music, play some shows, and have some fun. So
hopefully that can all
much it.
Hopefully that all go down. That'd be that's not a bad year. And I actually just moved back from Minneapolis December of 2019, just before.
Oh, wow.
And I was just moving back very temporarily, honestly, like 6 months or so. But anyway, I had just gone back before the pandemic, and I did not get a chance to see actually, I saw no shows before the pandemic, but I kicked myself because the last show I was supposed to see before the pandemic was I was driving up to see the Get Up Kids at the Grog Shop.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't make it. And then the goddamn pandemic started, and that was it. And it was like, oh, I guess I'm not seeing. So it's been, I was thinking about this the other day. I think the last show I saw in Cleveland was 2018, I believe, with the Lawrence Arms, Sincere Engineer, and Red City Radio at the Grog Shop. I think that was the last show I saw in Cleveland. It has been so long.
I love Red City Radio too. They're great. Man. Like,
it's been too long.
It has been too long. I think the last show I played was probably 2 years ago at the Grog Shop with Direct Hit and Heart and Lung, Cleveland favorites. And it's been a long time. I really just want to play a show. We were supposed to play with Teenage Bottle Rocket. That kind of fell through because there was some drama going on with them, and so we just dropped off. Hopefully we'll play some shows and have some fun. Hopefully, whether you're in Alaska or in Cleveland or anywhere, come fly out, drive out, and come rock out with us and have some fun.
No, it'd be awesome. Lots of good venues to play, lots of good bands to play with. Heart and Lung, honestly, is one I did not hear until they signed with Red Scare, and I was kicking myself because I'm like, damn, how many shows did they play that I missed just up the road?
You know what's really funny? There's not a lot that I could think of, like bands that sound kind of like us and Heart and Lung, have like a little bit of that Fat Records vibe mixed in, and a lot of other bands are like around Cleveland are more of like the indie emo vibe for the most part. So I feel like it's either us and Heart and Lung trying to get on the same shows. It's kind of funny. It's like as soon as Red City Radio comes or a band like that comes, we're both like, okay, who can get on that?
You guys got to
So-
you guys got to work together. We got to get a
Yeah.
like local show going. That is definitely one I would come up and see. I would definitely like
Yeah.
to check that out.
Yeah, they're great though. There's so many great bands in Cleveland and so many great venues. So hopefully when this pandemic is over, if it ever is over, and you're ever out here, please support the local venues and everything, and some great restaurants too. That's a whole nother podcast though.
Oh, Cleveland rules.
But,
People don't realize. I was talking the band I interviewed earlier from Milwaukee, and it's just the same thing. It's like people don't realize all the rad cities in the Midwest just because it's like cold. So they kind of
Yeah.
like either never check it out or whatever reason they don't realize. And it's like, oh, some of the coolest places in the country are just like up north in like the Rust Belt. It's like there's some of the best places you'll find.
Because if you think about it, like it makes sense. Like people think it's just like flyover states, but like, the people that are actually here feel kind of stuck here. So it's like we might as well have some cool shit to do while we're stuck here, right? You know what I mean?
Tons of
So
rad.
There's tons of awesome restaurants. Like so many restaurants have been on like, the Food Network and stuff here because there's nothing to do other than just stuff your face. So, and rock out to music. So, like the Ohio flag should just be somebody rocking out, stuffing their face with a cheeseburger. Because we have great venues, great food, and yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I miss seeing a show over at the Grog and eating a greasy ass piece of pizza at Guy's Pizza afterwards.
Oh man,
I miss it. I have to get back up there for something, and hopefully it'll be a low morale show. Maybe a low morale, heart and lung Bobby Vaughn show. Just a big ass stacked lineup.
Let's do it. All right.
I'm into it.
Let's
you
do
have
the
one
Power
ticket
Chord
sold,
Hour
man.
presents.
Oh hell yes! I've never put on a show. This might be a good first one.
Yeah, man. Sometimes things just happen organically like this. 1 minute we're bullshitting about it. The next minute we're at a sold out Power Chord Hour.
Oh
festival.
hell yes! And then I feel like you have to have Bobby guest up there for those pick slides that he did on the album. You got to have him just for that though. He doesn't for nothing else. He just walks out with his Strat and just does a pick and then like leaves the stage again and just comes back out.
He's not even in the building. He walks into the building, walks up on stage. He's wearing his guitar the whole time, does the slide, walks off stage, goes outside. A few songs later, he walks back in the building, does the slide, walks out, and the whole time the guitar is on him while he's walking out.
You can't introduce him either. Never don't ever bring it up during it. Don't bring him up when he's off the stage. Don't go, thanks Bobby for coming. Like never acknowledge it. Never acknowledge it at all.
And he'll have just a blank stare on his face, maybe almost a little bitter.
He looks really angry. Like he looks like he was forced into this.
He does not want to be there.
Yeah, this was a favor asked upon him, and he was really put in like a position where he couldn't say no.
Like it looks like he's being blackmailed for something horrible, maybe some horrible crimes, maybe murders.
Yeah, you can tell he's like, he's made a mistake in his life, but the real mistake is now he has to be up here doing this pick slide, or else he'll reveal that mistake to everybody. Yeah, there's just a real look of worry, anger, frustration.
He's in a cold sweat.
And he's just, and he's flustered. He's thinking of what key, he's so flustered, he's trying to think of what key the song's in, even though he's just doing a pick slide. He can't remember what key you're in.
But it's the best pick slides you've ever fucking heard.
Oh, I believe it. He seems like he can. I've heard some pick slides recorded. What am I saying? I know he can pick slide.
Oh, he could pick slide with the better than the best of them, I should say.
I love. You know what? Yeah, we've. Hopefully, people listening to this. I mean, it's something I've known, but if you don't know about the Cleveland scene, maybe hopefully this like educated you, let you know some of the great venues and music and all that. But we'll get into some good music right now. We'll play some low morale. So we'll kick it off. And maybe if you're listening to the radio show, we'll throw like some Heart and Lung and some Heart Attack Man and some other like great Ohio bands in here. But either way, you're listening to
maybe some Heart, the band.
Some Heart as well. One of everyone's favorite Midwest emo bands, Heart. Who could forget the emo classic Barracuda?
Exactly.
Actually, that chugging, there is some chugging in that, actually. Now that I think about it, you just put some distortion on that. Actually, I keep getting sidetracked. I'm bad as this. There's about as much phasers on that song as Title Fight. You would start to think that Heart was influenced by Title Fight.
Exactly.
That reach really goes. That Title Fight reach really knows no genres.
Hey, but it was worth it. It was worth it for title fight.
Anyway, this has been great. I hope everyone listening enjoys hearing this conversation as much as it is just talking shit, talking music here with Justin. So we're going to get into it right now. Here is Low Morale, International No One, right here on the Power Chord Hour.
I don't need me, I don't need anyone. Just let me sleep till the sun goes down. I pour my guts out over and over, step all over them. So I'll stare at screens, buzz and high, dream of another life. That's it, always night. I poured my guts out over and over, step all over them again. Done all I can. Ignore the posts that mean the world, just like my jokes and pics, I guess. Am I the next big thing or another thing? It almost was fucking sickening, 'cause here I am, new cigarettes, come to our shows and kick the chair and shit for breaks, so be amazed. I poured my guts out over and over and over and over and over again. I poured my guts out over and over, step all over them again. I don't need me, I don't need anyone. I'll fall asleep when the sun comes up and you don't need me, you don't need anyone. I'm Mr. International, no one gives a damn. Sometimes it feels like I'm not even here, like I'm at ghost and at real, or a masterpiece framed on the floor. So many years I've been writing the hits. My friends are all having kids, I guess. I'm lucky I still look 24, 'cause all I wanna do is rock you, and all I'm gonna say is be there in the flesh, or don't waste your breath. Sometimes it feels like a hoax lunar land, like I'm half who I am and an alien in my own hometown. So many years I've been taking the hits, and my ingenious is shit, I guess. I'm lucky I still look 24, 'cause all I wanna do is rock you, and all I'm gonna say is be there in the flesh, or don't waste your breath.
Here's what humanity is a plague. We're a disgusting, narcissistic, selfish parasite, and the world would be a better place without us.
I don't know who I am, burned out on backup plans. I guess I'll dive at first into an empty pool deep end, 'cause all I wanna do is rock you, and all I'm gonna say is be there in the flesh, 'cause all I wanna do is rock you, and all I'm gonna say is be there in the flesh. Don't waste your fucking breath, don't waste your fucking breath.
This is Bobby Vaughn, and you're listening to the Power Chord Hour.
You're having a breakdown. I'm having a breakthrough.
I know life could be tough. The world's so fucking weird. It all feels like too much. But not when you are here. Not when you are. We've got a heart connection, and that goes without saying. We've got a heart connection, and that goes without saying. We've got a heart connection, and that goes without saying.
Right here on the Power Chord Hour podcast, a block of low morale for you. That was Can't Get You. Before that was Existing is Exhausting. And opening up that block of music was International No One. All three of those off the debut from Low Morale, Making You Better Feeling. Go grab that on Bandcamp. You can go find it everywhere else. But like I always say, go to Bandcamp. That supports bands the best. You know what I mean? Or like I feel like they get they see the most of your dollar out of Bandcamp. So go to Bandcamp, but you can go find it other places as well. But I want to thank Justin for calling in. Had a great time chatting. It's funny. We've probably, if you go back, because like we mentioned, Bobby Vaughn, who has been on the show twice now, Justin's younger brother. We've talked about Justin, I'm sure, at least a few times on the show, just talking to Bobby. I'm sure he's come up. So someone who very well might have been talked about on the show like 5 years ago, even finally on, was great to talk to him and just talk about Cleveland music and everything. Hilarious guy. It was also I do love a little shit talking, and I think that was like just the right amount. You know what I mean? Like just enough. Nothing awful or nothing like groundbreaking. But just fun to discuss. I love hearing stories like that. I like hearing the good stories, but you want to hear more of the chaotic stories as well, because they are there. Whether or not people tell them to you, those chaotic stories are probably there. If they're if they're playing enough shows or touring or whatever, you're just bound to. I mean, by the amount of people you meet, or just being in all those different cities. whatever it is, you're bound to have some wild stories. And Justin shared some. And very, very rad dude. Definitely have to have him back. Maybe one day we'll have him and Bobby on at the same time. I think that would be fun. I forgot to ask him, actually. I totally forgot to ask him if he remembers hanging out once with me, him, and his brother, which, again, speaking of which, I'm pretty sure we talked about last time Bobby was on here. But I have, in fact, hung out with Justin in real life. But it was like, I mean, at this point, it was like, I think 5 years ago. And it was literally a night. So I don't know if he remembers or not. But either way, this was a lot of fun. I forgot to ask him. And I'll have to ask him next time. But yeah, this was very fun. Hopefully you enjoyed podcast number 89 right here with Justin Vaughn of Low Morale. Maybe if you're listening near, it's weird because obviously this gets played on the radio show, and that gets played here in Jamestown. And while you can listen to that everywhere, wink, wink, you can stream that radio show from anywhere. Being in the Jamestown listening area, Cleveland, even though we're in New York, we are in Western New York. So like, it's about 2.5 hours here from Cleveland. Like if I go to a concert, Cleveland, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Erie's beautiful because Erie, Pennsylvania is like 45 minutes from here and a very quick show. But also Erie's like a smaller size city, and probably I don't even know if they'd be considered a B market. Not to shit talk Erie, but I don't even think they would be a B market. I don't know what they would be considered. So like, you don't get tons of shows there, though. Shout out Basement Transmissions, who any great shows that I've seen up there has more than likely been put on it at either the original Basement Transmissions or the new one, which both are great. But yeah, so really, as even though I'm in New York, a lot of people take that right away as New York City, and very, very far from the truth. I'm like 7 hours from New York City. So anyways, I'm saying I'm saying it really long and drawn out. But Cleveland is definitely a place that I absolutely love, because if I want to go to a show, and right now not a lot going on, but back in my day, love going to shows, and definitely something I tried doing at least a few times a month, and would definitely find myself in Cleveland. During college, I probably went to Cleveland at least once a month, sometimes more than that, for concerts, and then just going and screwing around and doing stuff. And, it's a great city. So I always like talking to people from up there, because like legit, like some of the best venues I would say in the country. And I've traveled around, and I try to go to concerts. I mean, I love including historic places. You know what I mean? Like living in Minneapolis and getting to go to First Avenue after hearing about it for years. I love that kind of stuff. So I try to go to shows whenever I can while I'm traveling. And I got to say, Cleveland is up there as well as are the Twin Cities, but like some of the best venues in the country are easily in Cleveland. I mean, Grog Shop, one of the best for like a smaller, divier kind of show. You're kind of like your club show, a little smaller. I might lose punk points for it, but House of Blues in Cleveland, fucking great venue, amazing venue. I've always loved that one. You can always get a good view. Like it doesn't matter where you're at in that place. Like there's a good view, and if you're up front, like including for being a corporate place, you got to give credit where credit's due. Like even the barricade isn't like, there's not this huge space in between. Like there's honestly a spot that I like to stand. Now I like being up front, but I'm also 6'5", and you can probably see where that becomes an issue. Now, what I like about there is you can go to the side of the stage at House of Blues Cleveland, and like I've done this for years, and like I have a spot, and you're not in the way of anyone, but you're like right there. And honestly, like there's the barrier's there, but the barrier like ends right where like you're standing. So like you're like at the end of the barrier. But I don't know. I've never been to any other House of Blues. I don't know. Maybe the rest are bullshit. I mean, I just always think it's funny because I'll bring up House of Blues Cleveland when I'm talking about good venues, and I feel like people might be looking at me like what the fuck, like you know what I mean? That's like bringing up like an arena, like the Allstate Arena is my favorite place to go to shows. Like like to me, it almost sounds like that, but honestly, really, really good venue that I love. I mean, those are just two. You have, oh man, who are we talking about there? Now I'm drawing a blank. But I mean, Now That's Class is another great one. There's a great record store, and I don't know that they put on shows all the time, but I saw Tommy Stinson there a few years ago. It might be Blue Note Records, and it's not even technically, I think, in Cleveland. It might be like Cleveland Heights. But there's and the Agora. How could I forget? I love the Agora, and that's another great one. I mean, there's a bunch of venues up there. I just, as I'm talking about how great the venues are, I realize I just named like 3, but I mean, there's a bunch of good ones. It's always a good place for shows. Like if I go through my head and think of like the best shows I've ever seen in my life, a lot of them definitely happen in Cleveland. So cool to talk about that stuff with Justin, and including someone who is been playing in shows up there for so long. I mean, he's someone I think we definitely have back on and just talk more about Cleveland music scene throughout the years and everything. It's kind of a good time to reminisce about it, just because there's not a lot going on. You know what I mean? It's not like there's tons of shows and stuff going on where you have news stories per se. So it's kind of like a good time and to reflect about like all the things you've done like throughout the years. You know what I mean? Like, instead of going and having fun at shows, now we kind of like sit here and talk about the fun that we've had at shows, shows past. But I love talking to him. Definitely I'm back on sometime, and like I said, maybe we'll have like him and Bobby on at the same time, because I mean their music taste and everything align pretty well. I think they would be fun to get on here to kind of. I would like to see where the shit talking would go if you got me, Justin, and his brother Bobby on here. I think that would be pretty fun. But anyways, that is it. Thank you so much for checking out this week's episode of the Power Chord Hour podcast. Make sure you tune back in next week. I cannot believe we're already getting at the end of another month, and the first month of 2022. But we'll be doing the January rundown next week, and I won't spoil any of them, but I got to say, I have like 3 or 4 guests lined up right now. Now, I've had that happen before, and that's why I won't say anything. Those 3 or 4 guests could become 2 guests. You never know, like, with schedules and everything. But as of right now, I think we are pretty much full for February. I think I will have guests the entire time for you, and I'm looking forward to them. Some really good ones. So make sure you check back. Maybe I'll talk more about it next week, because maybe by that time I'll have maybe I'll have done 1 or 2 of those interviews. I don't know, but I'm excited for upcoming guests. I'm also excited for next week. Just sit here and talk with you on the January rundown of the show. But until then, if you want to stay connected to the show, follow us at Power Chord Hour. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. New radio shows every Friday night from 10 to midnight on 107.9 WRFA right here in Jamestown, New York. Now, like I mentioned earlier with the wink wink, you can stream the station from anywhere. So if you want to listen to that radio show, tune in on WRFALP.com, and you'll see the streaming button there, and you can stream the stream the radio station, and listen to my show and all the other rad shows. And also Spotify. I put up playlists every week. If you miss the radio show but you want to hear what I play, I do put up the playlists every week on Spotify, so you can check that out. Obviously, you can check out the podcast there as well. Rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. That is the best way to support the show. It would be rad. That's a great way to kind of get like the word out there and everything, is to just also literally getting the word out there by just telling like your friend, like, hey, listen to this show, but also like subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff, all that pandering that everyone tells you to do when you listen to their podcast. But that is going to be it for this week. Once again, thank you very much to Justin Vaughn for calling in. Had a blast talking to him. And so until next week for the Power Chord Hour podcast, I'm Anthony Merchant. Thank you so much for listening.